Nice to see you. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach. That's everybody's talking. Once they settle down, you'll hear me. Chag Sameach. Shavuot Tov. It's great to see you all. We have a very special Shabbat for you this evening, and I appreciate everybody being here. I am wearing, it's not really a talit. I was at a Hindu festival the other day, and I spoke, and they presented this to me, and it meant a lot to me. And so I'm wearing this in order to show that our cultures are similar, and also to celebrate the fact that religion should bring people together. And so this is living proof that it does. So thank you for being here today. We're going to begin with a song talking about how beautiful it is for everyone to be here together. Hine Matov, led for us by Rose Lopater and David Pressler. And now I'm going to invite Adrienne Getz to come on up and lead us in the Kiddush. You can find this on page 719. Some of you are wondering, wait a minute, we don't use this Siddur. This is a different Siddur. What is going on? Well, first of all, we like to keep you guessing, because if it gets the same thing every time, it gets stale. But the other reason is a Shavuot, and the newer Siddur doesn't have a Shavuot service. This one does, so we're going back in time, back to yesteryear, in the 20th century, with the old Siddur. Brings back old memories. So now we're going to have the special Kiddush on page, well, this is on page 719.
Baruch Atoi Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Borei Pri Hagafen.
Savarim Rolam V'Rabbanan V'Rabotai Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Borei Pri Hagafen.
This is Rockin' Shabbat. It's the first Friday, but because it's also a day that we're commemorating D-Day and also Shavuot and Yizkor, it's going to be a toned-down Rockin' Shabbat somewhat, but there's certain favorites we still like to do. So we will be singing Sweet Sabbath Wine, and feel free to join in, and hopefully we'll get it on the right key. I haven't rehearsed this one, but... When that began, sometime before all knowing, it's growing strong inside of me. Come take my hand, join me in where I'm going. Together we'll find our destiny. Each spring, then it extends through summer, through Yom Kippur and all year long. It leads me to sing, silence would be a bummer, and it keeps me growing strong. God in me touches you. so good. I'm inclined as a Jew to believe in brotherhood. Yes, Paulo. Thank you very much. We're abbreviating, circumcising some of the music because we have some great speakers. When my son was born, actually while he was in the womb, the dastardly 9/11 attack occurred. And I started thinking, this is a really scary world, and we're in a battle. Today, we commemorate the battle against the Nazis, against the Japanese. It took our country a long time to figure out that this is a battle that we should get involved in. It was waged for a while before we had to be attacked, and then decided, I think we're at war. The same thing could be true with radical Islam. It seems like it's taking a little while to sink in that we're in a battle. And the battle is an ideological battle as much as a military one. So while I was waiting around for my son to be born, I wrote this song. And I changed the lyrics a little bit to make it more applicable to the battle that I think we need to wage. From the height of the Twin Towers to the halls of the Pentagon, to those brave souls who brought down a plane, your legacy lives on. We never will forget you and the price that you have paid. And despite Al-Qaeda's vicious acts, they won't make us afraid. And I'm proud to be an American, and
or at least I know I'm free.
I rewrote the lyrics.
I'm sorry. I just love them so.
And I'm proud to be an American, and I remember 9/11. And I don't know where those thugs are now, but I know they ain't in heaven and will always stand up to terrorists each and every day. 'Cause there ain't no doubt they'll lose this war against the USA. They think death and our destruction will earn them paradise, but their actions have caused Islam to pay a heavy price. They say they've been commanded to kill all non-believers, but these zealots have been branded as killers and deceivers. And I'm proud to be an American, and I remember 9/11. And I don't know where those thugs are now, but I know they ain't in heaven and will always stand up to terrorists each and every day. 'Cause there ain't no doubt they'll lose their war against the USA. They want to kill Americans 'cause we hold a different view. And they murdered Daniel Pearl because he was a Jew. And they even killed each other in jihadist attack in Afghanistan or Israel, the US and Iraq. And I'm proud to be an American, and I remember 9/11. And I don't know where those thugs are now, but I know they ain't in heaven and will always stand up to terrorists each and every day. 'Cause There ain't no doubt they'll lose this war against the USA. Mentioned today was my dad's birthday. He was in the infantry, in the military, and he said the infantry is not for infants. And we have another person who's in the infantry, U.S. Army Infantry Lieutenant Colonel Bill Schwartz, who is here with us tonight, a veteran of D-Day, a recipient of 3 Purple Hearts.
Wow.
One who is extremely involved in the Jewish community and continuing to serve his people and not letting age be a barrier. Someone who is sought after as a speaker all over the community. We're very lucky to have him, especially on this particular occasion. But of all the things I can say about him, I would just like to leave you with this. Bill Schwartz and I do not see eye to eye politically. We are on opposite ends of the political spectrum, to put it mildly. And what I can say about Bill is that that has absolutely zero effect on his love, his affection for my mom. He even puts up with me. And I don't know how I could express any higher accolade than that. He's someone who demonstrates what we need today in America. People who care so much about this country and about the Jewish people that they put all other differences aside.
I have no idea who he was talking about. But you know, folks, can't hear me. Is that better?
No.
All I can say is it's an honor to be here at this particular time to see the son of the founder of this synagogue. Isn't it a wonderful thing to see him here? Just great. His father would be so very proud of him, as most of us are. I was asked to speak about D-Day because it's appropriate at this time. And I will, but if you'll allow me to digress, I'd like to start with a different message. When I was extremely young, a pre-teenager, one day my father said to me, he said, "Come outside." I said, "What for?" And he called me son. He never called me son, he always called me Bill. So I knew I must have done something really radically the wrong direction. But no, he said, "Look up at that sky." And I said, "Yes, Dad." He said, "That's beautiful, isn't it?" I said, "Oh, yes, sir." He said, "Look at those beautiful trees." "Is that beautiful?" I said, "Yes, Dad." He said, "All the other wondrous things are all beautiful all around us. They're all free, aren't they?" I said, "Oh, yes, Dad." He said, "No, they're not, son. You have to pay dues." Well, I said, you have to understand I'm about 7 years old. I said, "Dad, how can I pay dues? You give me 50 cents a week allowance. And 25 cents is for my nickel bottle of milk." At school, I lived in the country. We had a very small cafeteria. The only thing the cafeteria had was tables and benches. But they did have milk. And the other 25 cents, I go to the bank every Saturday. Excuse me, Rabbi. Every Saturday, and I give the teller 25 cents. And I do that 5 days a week, and that 25 cents is for the Christmas savings account. Don't get excited. I said, so come Hanukkah, I have money to buy a little card or something for you, Mom, and my sister. So I said, how could I possibly pay any dues? He said, well, maybe you've forgotten, but he said, it was just several weeks ago you asked me for another 10 cents. Do you remember what that 10 cents was for? I said, oh, yes, Dad. We were having a drive for the Red Cross. He says, you're paying dues. And that's what you need to do. When you become an adult and you're earning a living, I expect you to really support charities that need to be supported. Why? Because our family's mission, and I hope your mission will be the same, is to help people who need help. I live by that, and I will say I want to congratulate all of you. Why is that? Well, I forget the figures, but in Palm Beach County, in southern Palm Beach County, we have 132,000 Jewish people. The percentage that belong to a synagogue are minuscule. I don't know the number. And why is that important to belong to a synagogue? Well, because first of all, it's our Jewish religion that has taken us thousands of years. All kinds of groups, religions, and everything are gone. We're here. This is helping people. And that's what we all need to do. So when we saw what was happening in Europe, it was my job. I have to help people who need help. And I knew it would be this country as well. Not just especially being Jewish, yes, that's true, but also anybody could end up slaves or dead. So I enlisted. And I enlisted underage. In those days, we didn't have the perfection of regulation and rules and so forth. I went in at age 16. And nobody knew it. If they knew it, they didn't care. They needed people. I made up my mind that I had to defend my country. And I went in to do it the best way I knew. I had been a pilot. Learned to fly in old planes on a dirt strip in the country by the goodness of the pilots who would be friendly. But the owner of the airport was a grouchy old son of a gun. The pilots always said hello. They admired the fact that I came after school, after I did my homework, on a bicycle 6 miles away just to watch planes. And I was making models. You can imagine all of that. Why am I telling you this? Because the grouchy guy that ran the airport one day said, "Hey kid, you want to make some money?" I said, "Yes, sir." "What would that be?" He said, "Well, you know, the planes get so dirty here. For every 3 planes you wash, I'll give you 50 cents. He didn't know if I had 50 cents, I'd pay him that just to touch the plane. So I said, "Yes, sir, I'd be honored." So I did that for 2 weeks, and then I went to him and I said, "Mr. Franklin," I said, "I don't want you to pay me for washing planes anymore." He said, "Then what do you want, kid?" I said, "I want flying lessons." And he looked at me and he said, "You're too small and you're too young." I said, "No, I grabbed a parachute. If I sit in a cockpit, I can see over the instrument panel, and I can also, my feet will reach the rudders so I can control the plane." He smiled for the first time. And he said, "Okay." He said, "I'll tell you what, for every 3 planes you wash, you get 15 minutes worth of instruction, land and fly." And that's how I learned to fly. And to not take you here all night, eventually the guys around kind of adopted me as a pilot, and I could fly their planes because I didn't have one. I couldn't afford to pay rent for one. And then there was a stunt circus that emanated out of that place, stunt flying. And they got me in it, and I did stunt flying. It's necessary to tell this story because I was in school and I decided I'd come home and join the Navy Air. I wanted a pilot for the Navy. Don't ask me why Navy. I figured that's the fastest way to get it going. So for those of you who know New York, I went down to 30 Church Street. I took 3 days of tests, written, physical, and everything else. And then finally, the day of reason, I meet with this captain who did not even ask me to sit down, didn't even let me stand at parade rest. I think you all know that. I stood at attention while he talked. And he's looking at my records. And he said, you know, Schwartz, very polite, right? You know, Schwartz, you look pretty good here. You passed the test pretty good and everything. But we really don't need any pilots. Navy has too many pilots. Now, all you saw in advertising, if any of you are old enough to know that, all you saw in advertising was pilots more than anything else is what was needed desperately. Okay, so that was, I was home on Thanksgiving. On Christmas time, I went to what was known then as the Army Air Corps, now called the U.S. Air Force. And I got admitted. I went through primary training, basic training, advanced training, and I was 2 weeks before graduation, and we had regular regulation flights other than the teaching pilot that taught us. This guy comes along and takes me through the normal routine. Without boring you in details, the biggest thing is he cuts the engine, and you have to do a faux emergency landing. You have to find a proper field, whatever, which way the wind is blowing, and so forth. I did it all. It was 100%. We came back, right back down. We get there, and he said, I'm sorry, kid, you didn't make it. You're out.
Yeah, same as Schwartz.
Well, I said, what do I do? I went to the commanding officer. We have nothing to do with that. In those days, you didn't call your congressman. This isn't a war. You're in a uniform. You didn't do. So I went to the Inspector General, got the same talk, but the Inspector General said, I want you to go see, I think you should go see the chaplain. I said, yes, sir. So I said, that's ridiculous, but okay, who knows? Maybe he has some power. I went to the chaplain. He was a Catholic priest. He was sitting behind his desk. He asked me to sit down, make myself comfortable, and he looked at my records and he went like this. And he said, my God, you got great record. He said, I'm so sorry. He got up from his chair, put his arm around me. He said, I know why you were rejected.
We know too.
He said, because you're Jewish. We need pilots so desperately. I am so upset with this. And I've tried, but there's nothing I can do. Make a long story short, I was assigned to other duty, and the commander of the outfit I was with, where I want to go overseas and fight no matter which way, because that's what I enlisted for in the first place. And the commander said, you know, Private Schwartz, I think you should go to officer candidate school. I said, I don't want to take that time to go to school. I want to go fight. He said, please, we need officers. Go to officer candidate school. Well, I went before that board, and when they said, you know, we have a place in the infantry, that's where we need people pretty strong right now, and we see you had ROTC training, so that's perfect for the infantry. I said, yes, sir, whatever way I can best serve my country. Who knew? That's where I went and had training. We went quickly over to England to train for D-Day. And D-Day training was quite remarkable. Without getting into too heavy detail, you have a bunch of people who feel very courageous at this point. We're not seeing battle yet, you understand. We all feel real good, we're doing the right thing, and we get this kind of training. The streets in the cities in Britain are lined with military equipment, but nobody knows that. It's all camouflaged. People in the town know it, but from the air for the German security planes, this is what it looked like. And we were training, we did amphibious training, making on the English islands, making trips in, and finally comes D-Day. D-Day, everybody's still pretty gung-ho, and we're ready to roll. We get in these boats, and I'm sure all of you have seen movies or parts of movies, and you've seen some of it. So you know it was just tremendous flotilla of every kind of vessel imaginable taking us over there. Now, on the way, I'm feeling the feelings of my men under my command. And I hear what they're saying, and I know my own feelings. And people always ask, Bill, were you afraid? Hell yeah. Anybody who says no should read what General Patton said about those afraid. Everybody's afraid. The difference is if you have capability, Patton would have said the guts, to go ahead and fight for your country. Well, once you get in a firefight, you're in. When we got within range, while we're in the boats, men were getting shot. I have to picture this, even if you've seen the movies. They're up on the cliffs. They have concrete establishments in halfway up, all the way up. These bunkers are with 6 foot wide concrete, 6 foot deep, 6 foot wide concrete walls, ceilings, and floors. They had subterranean rooms under there for support. They even had ventilation, no, not air conditioning, had ventilation, because when you're shooting a lot of weapons in a close-in area, the fumes can overcome you. They had fastened everything. When you see the automobile industry talking about German engineering cars, you know, and German engineering is good, and they were doing a good job. You have to understand, they're up there shooting down on us. We have no protection in the first wave. Later on, we had enough damages and equipment that we were getting that we had some kind of protection. But just picture this yourself. They're up on a cliff. You're walking on a bare beach, trying to climb up that cliff, and they're shooting. Bullets are flying. Guys are dying all around us. Medics can't get to them fast enough. It's ridiculous. Well, within 48 hours, I lost 80% of the men under my command. They're all human beings. They're not just numbers. They're live people, people I know, people I trained with, got to be friendly with. I still have that nightmare. Yes, I do have nightmares. Anyhow, we made it. The groups behind us helped us, and of course we laid the groundwork for them by getting rid of those bunkers and other defenses. We went on all the way, all the way. We lost plenty on the way, more and more. You've heard of stories of Battle of the Bulge, which is a horrifying, complete thing. War is not fun. Why in blue blazes, man, the highest species of all animals, we're the only ones that kill each other off. Now there are others that, in order to live, go after other animals and so forth. That's different. From what everything I've read, there are two groups where when they have a fight with each other, the leader fights the leader of the other group, and when it's over, they don't kill each other, they go home. Okay? So I'm sorry, I shouldn't wax philosophical here. The main thing I want to tell you is that we need to do everything we can to do our part. What's our part? Well, our part is, who do you vote for? You knew this had to happen.
Sure, I get rebuttal.
Right now, I don't think you want to talk about either party, and neither do I. I'm not interested in that. What we need to do is select the proper candidates. Select the candidate that is going to do what? Run your city best, your county, your state,
Go back
and
to
your
DJ.
USA the best way. And then you don't just vote for that person. It's just like charity. You have to contribute to that person running for office that you believe will be the right one. That's still not enough. Just like you contribute to charities with money, you should work for the charities. And you have to work for the candidate that will run your country, your city, the best way. I have the same way with charities as I do with government. Right now, anti-Semitism is running crazy, wild, every place. What can you do? It's the same thing. You can talk all you want. I support every possible Jewish organization that is on the anti-Semitism group. I work for them. I don't just write checks. And this is the only ammunition we have to do that. Thank you for allowing me to diverse into other fields when I was limited to speak about this. Thank you very much. There's one more thing I'd like, thank you very much. There's one more thing I'd like to do. The day before D-Day, the day before, this came over the loudspeaker in our barracks. It was spoken by Dwight Eisenhower, who was the Supreme Allied Commander. And he announced, soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you in company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the culmination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves as a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940 and 1941. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
No, if you can just stay here for a minute. I first of all want to thank Bill Schwartz for tremendous amount of charitable work that he does and for making this community a better place and for honoring us on this occasion, the 75th anniversary of D-Day and to speak with us. I wanted to present this on behalf of the congregation. For all the veterans, there are a lot of Jewish war veterans in this congregation. In honor of your speaking here today, we'll put this up somewhere to remember this occasion. It's in honor of every veteran that belongs to this congregation or that joins with us, and I want to always remember this occasion. I also have something else for you, just in case there's something that you don't know about D-Day or would like to see. I saw this at the store, and it's a whole magazine about D-Day. And what I want to say before Bill leaves the Bema is what an incredible privilege it is that he is a friend of mine, my mother, the community. He lives at Sinai Residences. This is one of the greatest members of the greatest generation. And we are thrilled to have him in our midst. And also, I want you to know, anytime you want to share your views in this congregation, they are welcome. No matter what the views are, because with your experience and your background, we can all benefit by hearing what you have to say, and I hope that he will always be welcome here, and every view, no matter if it's similar to ours or not, will be respected, as he's always respected mine. I have great conversations with Bill. He teaches me things, I share things with him. That's what we need. Thank you very much. Bill, if you can just stay here for a minute. I first of all want to thank Bill Schwartz for tremendous amount of charitable work that he does and for making this community a better place and for honoring us on this occasion, the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and to speak with us. I wanted to present this on behalf of the congregation. For all the veterans, there are a lot of Jewish war veterans in this congregation. In honor of your speaking here today, we'll put this up somewhere to remember this occasion. It's in honor of every veteran that belongs to this congregation or that joins with us, and I want to always remember this occasion. I also have something else for you, just in case there's something that you don't know about D-Day or would like to see. I saw this at the store, and it's a whole magazine about D-Day. And what I want to say before Bill leaves the Bema is what an incredible privilege it is that he is a friend of mine, my mother, the community. He lives at Sinai Residences. This is one of the greatest members of the greatest generation. And we are thrilled to have him in our midst. And also, I want you to know, anytime you want to share your views in this congregation, they are welcome. No matter what the views are, because with your experience and your background, we can all benefit by hearing what you have to say, and I hope that he will always be welcome here, and every view, no matter if it's similar to ours or not, will be respected, as he's always respected mine. I have great conversations with Bill. He teaches me things, I share things with him. That's what we need. Thank you very much. The passage that we read involves a census. They were taking a census to see who was going to be part of the military. And everyone decided that they wanted to join in, and it says, lift up your head and be counted. And the Jewish people have always done that. In every country where they are, they've fought. They've lifted up their head and they're counted. And we need Jewish people to be counted as Jews and Americans. As Bill Schwartz said, how sad it is that so many people have abandoned our heritage. This beautiful, wonderful heritage. The world needs us now more than ever. And so we all need to be counted. And if you'll pardon the expression, if we decide not to be part of the Jewish census, we must be out of our senses. And so it's important that we remember this passage. And I just want to say this. On this day, When we look back at the incredible heroism that people underwent in order to protect us and to save this country, they stood shoulder to shoulder. They were somewhere else that they wanted to be, but they stood right there, and they did their duty, they did their honor, and they made us proud, and they also gave meaning to their lives because they were fighting for something greater than themselves. We need to do that today. How dare anyone say, I'm fed up with this country, I'm fed up with what's going on, I'm out of here, I'm just going to worry about myself, I'm done. The people who fought on D-Day could have said that. This is outrageous, I'm done. They didn't. How dare anyone today say the problems are too great, the obstacles are too insurmountable, the mission is not worthwhile. When we see the courage, we should be inspired by Bill and by so many people, but this greatest generation, and we should never, ever check out and say, no, this is too daunting for me. I just have to tell you that when I think back on what happened before I was born, I am just blown away by that courage. And there's no way that when this country needs us to be counted and to be part of the census, that we should ever back off and say, I'm done. No matter how distasteful politics might be, I agree with Bill. Get involved and be educated and cherish this democracy. They gave their lives for freedom and democracy. How dare anyone today turn our back on it and say it's not worth our while? Stand up, be counted, and be counted as Jews. And thank you for being here on this wonderful occasion. I hope you'll always be welcome, and feel free to come here at this synagogue or a synagogue of your choice, because we need the Jewish people to be counted as part of our census, and to lift up our head and to lift up our hand and to say, we want to be counted. Thank you very much.